What's up, everyone? I'm your host, Dom, and welcome to another episode of Minionland Minecraft. Today's going to be a little bit different of an episode. As you can see, we are at some form of the Red Rocket. Now, we're actually in the Far Lands, which is, I guess, an extended Minionland, from my understanding. I could be wrong. But I've built a little home here, and it's sort of the Red Rocket. It's like an old-timey Red Rocket. In fact, this is actually ye old Redstone mechanic station. So I built a place where I call home, where my friends can come and drop off redstone requests. And we're kind of going to do that today. So as I run to the topic of today's video, we're in the Farlands because some of the group, some of our friends from Minionland decided to come over here and build up a little village. And it's been pretty cool, this co-op type building situation. And, I've been in charge of building just a lot of some redstone resource type things. Some of which are these. These are our flower stations, and as you can see, it's only for the double tall. Let me get up here. And it produces yellow dye, pink dye, magenta dye, and red dye. And the flowers are called rose bushes, lilacs, peonies? Peony? I don't know. Sunflower. And you can see the sunflower always faces east. So that's cool. But not only did we build these stations here where we can get a little bit more resources from our flowers, we also built this. The biome flower, what do I even call this thing? It's basically a floor, a moving floor where you bone meal and it produces seeds, flowers. This is really good in a flower biome, which we happen to be in. It's a flower forest. Now I have 2 pieces of bone meal. And the way this works is these pistons work in opposite of those. So when we turn it on, it's pushing the ground back and forth. Now I only have 2 pieces of bone meal here. So if I were to bone meal this, boom. Boom, and you can see the stuff pop off. It's crazy. And I got 4 red tulips out of that. So we're just going to plant these down, actually. I don't really need these. And we're going to get rid of these seeds. I really am tired of the seeds. But, flower machine. For dummies, Bryn. Hit the lever, bone meal dirt. Nice, Bryn. Very nice. Anyways, guys, since I already have this built, what we're going to do is actually jump into our creative world. And I'm going to show you how to set this thing up. It's pretty simple. Right, so we're in our creative world, and one of the first things that we're going to do is actually build the earthquake machine, or the flower machine, however you want to call it. It's up to you. I don't really have a name for it. But I wanted to show you guys something real quick. Here I have different lengths of blocks, and you see I have pistons on one side, pistons on the other. There's a gap. This is going to allow them to push them back and forth. So we all know that all of these blocks will get pushed because the maximum push length is actually 12, like this. So those pushed because there's only 12 blocks here from one end to the other. Now, of course, for it to push back, the other side has to retract first, just like that, and then this side can push. See? Now this side is retracted. Here we have 13 blocks, and we're going to see that a piston cannot push more than 12 blocks. So 13 is a no-go. Can't use that. Now you can build this machine as long as you want. I typically build it in a 4x4 because you can do a 12x12 if you would like. You could do a 24x12, but that's such a big shaking machine that it may cause some lag. It may also, you just don't need it to be that big for, bone mealing the ground. It's kind of pointless. So anyway, we're going to come over here to our 13x6 area. And this is what you need for a 4x4 earth machine. So what we're going to do is come down here and we're going to grab our grass block. As you can see on one side, I dug out a trench because we want to hide the the redstone. So first thing I'm going to do is actually start laying down some blocks, and I believe we should end up with, 3 on each side. Let's just test this out, because I don't quite remember now. So count 4 blocks away from the edge of one end. Then you can start putting down your 4x4 of grass, because that's where you're going to start bone mealing. Then on the side that has 4 blocks, we're going to place pistons down facing into the grass blocks and touching. They got to touch on this side. So 1, 2, 3, 4 pistons going into the grass, touching the border. Then on this side, we don't want them to touch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's a block gap in between. So now we have 3 and a 3 block gap here. Perfect. That's exactly what you want. So with that done, we're actually going to grab our comparators. My mistake. We're going to grab our repeaters and put those going into the pistons, right into the back of the pistons, just like that. They can all remain on single click. We're going to repeat that process going here into these 4 pistons, just like that, single click 4. Remember, this is for a 4x4. You guys can make it as big as you want. I wouldn't recommend it. This is sufficient enough. You can even do a 3x3, which is plenty. So now that we have those down, we're going to grab some redstone, tie those into the back of the repeaters, and then down into this little trench that we made before. We're going to do the same thing on this side, down into the trench. Got it? Looks pretty good. Now the fun part, we're going to make a redstone clock, so we don't need the pistons anymore. So I'm going to take a hopper, put one down, and you can place it basically on the second block, grass block, from the grass blocks that are touching the pistons. So it's going to look like that. Now you're going to put another second hopper going into the first one that you put down. Then you're going to remove the first hopper that you put down. Now you can see this hopper is pointing this way down the trench. So you're going to place down a third hopper pointing into that second hopper. So they're both going into each other. Now the fun part is we're going to go into one hopper. You can put any one item that you want. I like to just do redstone just to keep it a true redstone circuit. You can put an egg in there if you want. But essentially you're just going to see that item tick back and forth between the 2 hoppers just like that. That there is now a redstone clock. And so that nothing else falls into this, I'm going to put 2 blocks above it. And guys, just a quick note, you can choose any material you want for your building block. It doesn't have to be quartz blocks. I just like to use quartz block in creative just because it's clean. It has some type of line dividing edge there, as you can see. And it's clean. It's really clean. So I like to use quartz in creative. Now we're going to grab a comparator, and you're going to need 2 of them, because you're going to place one comparator going on one side and one comparator going on the other. And as you can see, it is ticking every time that redstone piece or that item hits the hopper with the comparator. So every time it lights up, that item is hitting that side. But we're going to take a look at this, because I want to show you guys something so you're aware of this. Comparators do not have a strong signal strength output. As you can see, this is a complete circuit now, but the comparator does not have the signal strength to power it. So we got to get rid of this. And what you're going to want to do is grab a repeater and place it right after the comparator. Now you can see that that repeater has the strength to push that signal out 16 blocks. And since we have less than 16 blocks here, it's definitely powering the circuit. And it's going to keep doing this because that clock is still running. So we're going to do the same thing to this side. We're going to grab another repeater, make sure that it's going out of the comparator, and then a last redstone piece. And there you have it, folks. That is the earthquake or flower machine, as I use it for. Now there's just one last step. You don't want this running, you're not going to want this running all the time. It's noisy and it's kind of annoying. So on one of the blocks, it doesn't matter which one, on one of the ones that you place down over the hoppers, or you can even extend this signal. You can even put a repeater going into that if you want to wire the switch somewhere else. And as you can see, when we hit the lever, it powers it. But I like, for this sake, for this example, we can just put a lever right on top of the block that's right over the hopper and power it. And as you can see, it turns the machine off. So this is very, very easy. I know you guys can do this. It is a bit ugly though, so we should probably decorate it. And what I like to do is just kind of create some stairs here like this, make it flow all the way around. Oops, I pushed the wrong button on that one. Shift click. And the cool thing is stairs can be used to cover a hole or a gap like that. It's not going to cut the redstone signal because it's considered a translucent block, I believe. Or hopefully that's just not a creative thing, but it seems to work, so we're going to go with it. And we're going to just wrap this all around. Just like this. And then you can see it has a nice little border. Look, it's starting to look really, really good. But we still have this gap right here, this hole. It's making everything still visible. So I'm just going to grab some half slabs. And just like this, I'm going to cover up this entire gap. I've got 4 here. Guess it doesn't matter. It's up to you guys if you want to cover this up, because I wouldn't want to fall into the gap. Either way, you're going to see. Okay, so this would probably be better. It's always going to be off in this position. You'll never see the gap here. Except for when it's in use. So one of the last things that you got to do now is just grab some bone meal. I'm going to grab a stack here. And you can bone meal this. Just like this. And you can see that there's grass and flowers generating on this thing, and as the ground shakes, it's just breaking those flowers and grass entities or whatever. And this is great for flower biomes. It's good for swamp biomes if you want to pick up a lot of the blue lilacs. You can build this thing anywhere. You can build it inside your house if you want to hide all the redstone, like between the walls or something. I mean, this is a great, great device here. Now, the other thing you guys saw in the far lands were the four flower generators, I guess you could call them. And those are kind of easy to set up. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to create, a trench here. And we're going to put a grass block right up there. So it kind of looks like a small grave. It's kind of odd to think about it that way, but that's kind of what it looks like. Now we're going to look for a chest just like this. We don't need any redstone, so let's grab that. No, I guess I can't. We're going to place the chest, a double wide, into the ground just like that. And then we can place a hopper going into the chest on the side of the grass block. Now, it would be ideal to build this up. There we go. Around this, just like that. And we can, if you want to make it decorative, you can place a little block above it. Now, you don't have to use blocks. You can use walls, fences, and stuff. But I find that the blocks are better because it, there we go. It catches the bounce offs, as you'll see. So we're just going to go in here and we're going to look for maybe a rose bush. Let's actually grab the plants, and I don't know if ferns will do it. I don't think tall grass will do it. Sunflowers. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, this should be it. Then I need the bone meal. What happened to the bone meal? All right, excellent. So we can place down one of the two tall plants, and as you can see, if we were to bone meal this, it is just popping off copies of it. Look at all those copies. Now, generally, it should, eventually fall into the hopper, and if we look into the chest, it does collect. But there are some that will stay up here, and that's why I said, place the blocks, because you can see it bounce off sometimes and go forward. And you don't want it bouncing far away or into the wall or anything like that, depending on how you build this or where you build this. So if you do have any residual, you can just jump up here and collect it just like that. And if you need to, you can always put it, well, into the chest. So lilacs is another one. As you can see, we can just keep doing that with the lilacs as well. Keep bone mealing, and you get a lot of lilacs as well. Same thing, if you got some residual up there, just jump up and collect it. You can look into the chest and you can see it does collect. Peonies are one of the other ones, or peon, I think it's peony. You know, place that down. It's a 2-block high plant. This one also is bone mealable, so you can just sit here and collect a ton of these. And I think the rose bushes is the last one that'll do it. There we go. So we can also bone meal the rose bushes. You can build one of these for the rose bushes and collect a lot of rose bush for red dye. And it's great. These little things work great, but you gotta have the plants. Now, one thing I'm not sure of are the large ferns. I don't think these are bone mealable. Whoops. Yep, doesn't look like we can bone meal these, so those are useless. And the large grass, these are also not bone mealable. So you can see nothing happens. I'm trying to hit it, just can't do it. So it would be the rose bushes, which are good for red dye, the peony for pink dye, the lilacs for the magenta dye, and the sunflowers for the yellow dye. So these are great too. They're compact, it's really easy to build, and you don't really need a lot of resources for this. It's actually pretty resource light. I think the toughest part is just collecting the flowers and, you know, putting these things somewhere where you would want. So guys, this is our flower kind of redstone systems that we would use. They're both great. They're both, you know, easy to build. And you can place these anywhere because as long as you have the flowers for these, it'll work anywhere you build it. And this you can build in the swamps, the flower biome, you know, anywhere you want to, and you can bone meal it and get the effects of whatever biome you're in, whether it's just grass, you know, for azure bluet, poppies, dandelions, you know, all the general ones that grow in any of the hills, the plains, anywhere. So it's good. Although you probably would end up with a lot of seeds, which I'm starting to get really tired of because of the grass. There's just grass everywhere. But anyways, guys, I hope you liked this video. If you did, drop me some likes, comment down below, and let me know your thoughts on either of these builds or what you think, or if you even have something better that you know of. That would be awesome to take a look into that and share it as well. And subscribe, guys. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Tell your friends and family about the channel. Have them come subscribe. It doesn't cost a thing, and I always appreciate all of your support. It means a lot to me. It's a lot of motivation to keep going, especially now with YouTube's new rules. So yeah, guys, I'll catch you all in the next episodes of Minionland Minecraft. See you all later.